I think like sometimes people have this perception that business has to be so freaking professional that they leave themselves out of the equation. And by leaving themselves out of the equation, they forget to, be nice to the other person on the other side or build legit relationships with the people on the other side that they're dealing with. And therefore, missing the connection, not closing certain deals because, again, there's no trust, no rapport right there, not a real relationship being built, therefore losing trillions of dollars.
You're just making fun of the headline now. Wow. Guys, do not do business with your brother. Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast,
where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit.
But most importantly, we're here to have a good time with you. That's right. So go to contentsprofit.com to get started today and join this awesome community like Ragni is doing right now, checking us out inside of the Facebook group. Big shout out. Woo.
That's right. What we're talking about today.
Oh, baby.
When you read the hook, I send it your way.
You send it my way. By the way, the clickbait worked. The episode is quickly rising to the top 5 episodes. So you want to hear the slap episode? Go back a few episodes and go listen to it. But today we'll be talking about the how to be nice principle that might be costing you millions. Ooh.
Or billions. Or trillions. Possible. I mean, who knows?
The story I heard from the guy that was talking about it was millions. But this principle has been the responsibles for at least $500,000 in sales in our business. No, not $500,000, $250,000. I went crazy.
A little bit over. I feel like we've been saying
over $250,000.
Yeah, we need to backtrack and pinpoint that exact number because I feel like we've been saying $250,000 now for over 6 months.
No.
Yeah.
It has been 6 figures before. $250,000, I promise you. Wow. Started a few months ago.
This is what the listener is getting out of this right now is that we don't know our numbers.
No, that you don't know the numbers.
Hey.
Well, I'm the one that sees all the spreadsheets. I'm just going to say that.
I have evidence in the L10s of our conversations when we said $250,000.
Sounds good.
A few months back.
All right.
$250,000. That being said, we're gonna talk about that principle. You share away because you're the one that brought it up.
I wanna before I say that, I wanna hear what you think when you heard that.
Heard what?
The title.
I mean, first I was like, here he goes with his clickbait again. No, I'm kidding. I mean, the how to be nice principle that is costing you millions. I mean, we had a conversation about this, but for me personally, it's something that is kind of like difficult to get in my mind just because I feel like we're always nice. It's just part of our nature. Sometimes. Maybe not so much in the podcast. Maybe not so much right now where we're just like throwing shade at each other.
I don't understand why. I've done nothing to upset you.
I'm not upset. I'm not upset. But when we talk about the how to be nice principle, I think like sometimes people have this perception that business has to be so freaking professional that they leave themselves out of the equation. And by leaving themselves out of the equation, they forget to, be nice to the other person on the other side or build legit relationships with the people on the other side that they're dealing with. And therefore, missing the connection, not closing certain deals because, again, there's no trust, no rapport right there, not a real relationship being built, therefore losing trillions of dollars.
You're just making fun of the headline now. Wow. Guys, do not do business with your brother. Please. Everybody asks us in these interviews, like, how do you guys work together? Well, you know what?
This is the end.
This is the end. No, I think you're right on the money, and I think this is what it is. I mean, last week we were part of an amazing workshop with our friend Amanda Holmes, the Elevated Dream 100, right? And there's a lot of aspects and things that they talk about in that workshop, and one of them is literally how to build relationships, right? And I remember when they were going through the cadence, don't lower that because whenever we have the audio, it's very low. People don't listen to it.
It's okay. it's meant to be a background song. It's not meant to be the main soundtrack of the podcast.
It is the main soundtrack of the podcast.
I'm like Nathan right now. Please lower me that. Please lower me that.
Anyways, sidetrack.
Yeah, sidetrack.
Yeah, don't touch the audio. That's my role.
I'm the equipment master, dude. You know I can lower it in post-production too.
Okay,
so
well,
I'm just saving myself some extra work after I have to edit this podcast. So go ahead, continue.
Hashtag struggles of live production.
Yeah, this whole fighting today is because we're doing the podcast late, so I guess we're tired from the day.
I'm perfect. Fonzie just slept for like 2 hours, so I've been waiting for him for like 2 hours. I am a little frustrated.
You weren't waiting for me?
I was. I was doing things.
Okay, we'll leave that for another episode. Tangent alert. People didn't tune in to see a brotherly bout over here. They tuned in to learn about the How to Be Nice principle. So continue.
All right. So Amanda Holmes is having this amazing workshop called the Dream 100. It's a concept that his dad, her dad, Chet Holmes, started when was working with Charlie Munger, right? And he ended up running 9 divisions, and he double, triple, quadruple sales in all of them with a little bit less effort than most, but it was a very smart and targeted effort, right? And the way that this event happens, I don't want to like spoil it, the whole system, right? But it's obviously based on relationships. And right now, what Amanda is doing is bringing this concept to the modern day, right? Because a lot of people, if you've heard of the Dream 100,
it was more about like sending like beefy packages and getting people's attention through like mail and build that old school relationship.
And the attention that you're trying to get is the attention of your dream buyer. That's a relationship that maybe you think is way too far from your reach, right? And you're trying to get the one relationship that would change everything in your business, right?
So pretty much the context is kind of like the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, which is 20% of the people who are spending money with you are probably, responsible for like 80% of your revenue. And kind of like that was the situation that Amanda's dad found out in this advertising industry, is that like 20% of the advertisers were the ones that were spending like 80% of the whole money. So he decided to, instead of market to the 80% that barely spends any money, he's like, let me just focus my attention on this 20% of accounts that got the big bucks and that can probably move the needle.
Yeah, and keep in mind, right, like this is all backed by data. So there's a lot of studies that they did to figure out who those people were and to make sure that they were, putting their time and effort in those relationships that were really worth it. So soon after, they were able to bring the biggest sales in the history of the company overall, and they quickly rolled it out to the entire company and trained, and it rolled out into 9 divisions of it, right? So today, Amanda is teaching that to different entrepreneurs. They implemented to these incredible businesses, right? And we're in the middle of this workshop, and as we're going through the phase of building their relationship, we're going through this. I'm like, well, this sounds very familiar. This is not hard, right? It's not hard. And that was the thought process that was going through my head. And immediately after the session was done, there's a ton of questions. How to do this and how to do that. And these are all messages or relationship building techniques that in our minds have always existed, right? But it's literally how to follow somebody and then how to comment on something. And
how to follow somebody creepily down the street, how to follow somebody.
I mean, in the social media environment, right? And then, like this thing or pay attention to what they're doing, make a comment about what they're doing, like be respectful.
Be nice.
Be nice, right? All the things that, we maybe subconsciously started to use it. And it started to make a lot of sense of maybe why we've had so much success with the show and the people that come into the show, right? Because it's something that maybe came natural to us, or it was instilled by our parents back home, or our culture. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I remember one of the first books that actually recommend us reading was Dale Carnegie, How to Make Friends and Influence People. Or I think it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I mean, that's literally...
You didn't make me read that.
No, well, he made me read that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a.
Maybe that's why you didn't have many friends.
I would, I would say that's like literally a great basis to start because it sets you up to be proactive in relationship building.
Yeah.
And this is what it's all about. It's about being proactive and, actually having the other person in your mind and legit think about how can I help this other person. I know this phrase is like super cliche right now, but it's like, how can you add value to their life? And that relationship is going to keep evolving, right? But I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, cool, we had this first interaction. And then it's like, that's it. That's their relationship. Let's see what happens. Maybe they'll reach out back to me, And I see this like on a day-to-day basis, not just in business. Like I see this with my girlfriend a lot, with like her friends. She's like, oh, they haven't reached out. And I'm like, why don't you reach out? Like, why don't you call your friends? Like, you want to go out? Like, you call them. You plan something, right? And I'm not trying to throw her under the bus here. She's doing a great job at her relationships with her friends. She's throwing that out there. But is that, right? A lot of people, I feel like they do the first maybe initial effort and then they forget about it. And a cool example that comes to mind is when we had the dentist as our client. I don't know if you remember. Mm-hmm. And we went to his office. We built that relationship with him. We started going playing soccer on Sundays with him and his kid. And we discovered that he was a Barcelona fan. And we went to the store and we bought him a Barcelona jersey. We bought his kid a Barcelona jersey. And we like packaged it. We put like some BIZBROS stickers. And this was all like before he hired us, I think. Either before he hired us or like right after he hired us. And we gave that to him. And man, like he was so grateful. His kid was like super excited. And, it was a great relationship. But honestly, we did it too from like the bottom of our hearts. It wasn't like, oh, let's buy them this to build rapport. It was more like, oh man, they love soccer and they like the team that you like.
Let's do something.
Let's do something. Yeah, let's do something cool for them, right?
Yeah. And, I think that's where a lot of people maybe miss the point, right? I think the stat was 95% of salespeople stop after the third contact, right? And obviously this is part of a sales strategy, right? Because you're going after your top dogs, the people that can change your business forever.
The McDaddies.
The McDaddies. And it will take time, right? It will take time. That's something that people have to accept. And if we come out super strong, I mean, think about it. I'm sure like if you sell something or if you have some kind of presence online, you've received these crazy DMs every single day pitching you for selling you stuff, right? Or crazy things. And they don't know anything about you. It's funny. Like we do get a lot of people that, I'm doing air quotes, listen to the show. And they're like, hey, nice to meet you. We're so-and-so and we love your episode. And then copy paste title of the episode. And we were wondering if you could have these people. This person will be great for your content show. They're going to be talking about something random that has nothing to do with content, right?
Because everybody is teaching them that if you're going to pitch yourself to somebody, make the work easy for somebody else and tell them the topics that you can talk about, right? So like it's already so scripted that and like you're saying, like they just copy and paste the title of the episode and you're like, dude. So I've actually got some outreach where people are like, hey, and is my Instagram handle. And I'm like, bro, I have a name. Like, it's like,
and it's funny because, we go back and we're like, hey, maybe let's entertain this idea. We respond back like, sweet. What was the favorite part about about this episode? And silence. Right?
Yeah, we never
complete silence. But anyways, so other than that, right? Like if you're using this strategy, and I highly encourage, we're not going to go through the Dream 100 strategy right here on this episode, maybe in the future, but I highly encourage you to go check out Amanda. She's an amazing person. She works with us. And that's what we're kind of, endorsing this episode, I guess. But, these are principles that you can start applying, whether it's podcast promotion, right? If you want to get in one of the big shows, right? If you want to pitch yourself into one of the big show audiences that you can leverage, or if you have a service and you want to make sure that you go to a big relationship, a big agency that might have all your clients, right? Like, how do you actually go about doing these things? And to the core is just be a nice person, right? Like, how do you establish a real, legit relationship with these people that you want to work with? And
some food for thought.
Some food for thought,
Yeah,
right?
no, I have some extra food for thought. The dessert.
Oh, I thought you were just like emphasizing my point.
that is some good food for thoughts. I have a little, the extra ration in case you're a little hungry
Dessert
still.
for
Yeah.
thought.
So this one is, if you are not excited about building relationships with the people that you want to work with, are you doing the work that matters to you? Are you doing work that makes you happy? Right? Because, and we shared this in a previous episode, right? Somebody asked us about like, why did we do the podcast? Right? And we were like, yeah, sure, there's a business strategy behind it. But one of our main answers was, dude, honestly, we just want to have the coolest friends in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. Like when you really want to connect with the person on the other side, you are proactive about building those relationships. You reach out, you send, when you talk about books and you realize they haven't read them, you buy the book and you send it to them and you write a note, right? You buy them Barcelona jerseys, sadly. There's better teams out there.
Sure.
But yeah, is that right? That you're genuinely interested in building a relationship with somebody. So if you're in a line of work where you're talking to people that you really don't want to connect with, right? Are you, first I would consider, am I in the right spot? Am I doing work that I really want to do? Second, maybe there's people in this market that I prefer to talk to, right? That are more of an ideal customer. Yeah. And, sure, there's the ideal customer profile. They have to X amount of revenue, all these characteristics. But at the end of the day, too, you need to want to work with them. So that's a good relationship.
So how do we bring this to content, right? So in our specific case with podcasting, we use a podcast as one of those steps where we build a relationship, right? So before somebody comes into the show, whether like more than likely if they come external, they come by a referral, somebody that came into the show already, had a great experience, and they're like, hey, you should meet these guys. And then if it's a mutual fit where the message fits the show and we think it's a great resource for maybe the audience that we're building, or even for us, right? We're curious. We want to know everything about your business. So we're going to ask you all the questions. We bring them into the show, right? And then we have this amazing conversation and then the relationship continues. Some of the relationships, maybe it ends in the podcast and it's great and we're still friends, but we still earn the right to maybe go ask for something or still be friends. We actually consider like the 200 plus people that we've had on the show really good friends, right? Like we could potentially send them a quick text and hopefully get an answer. But even a year later,
honestly, I feel like maybe a handful of the people that we've had on the podcast
are like legit,
are still like out of our reach that they wouldn't consider us like their friends, like close relationship. I feel like they would recognize us and they would be like, oh yeah, dude, I remember being on your podcast. It was a great experience. We had a good time. But it wouldn't be like as close as the other 195.
Yeah. I mean, one amazing example is, our awesome friend, Catherine Jones, right? I remember when we first started this journey, we saw her on stage on Fun Hacking Live and she was
levels above us.
Yeah. Felt like it was really hard to maybe connect with her or even have a relationship in whatever sense. Right. And it's funny because she sent us a quick text introducing us to an amazing person in the industry for a new opportunity that we're going to be meeting tomorrow, right? So, be patient, be nice, make sure that you care about the person that you're reaching out to, whether that's for podcasting, right? If you have a podcast, I highly, highly encourage use your podcast as a vehicle to build that relationship, right? And then just make sure that you continue to follow up, making sure and the follow-up is not like, hey, you want to buy this thing. The follow-up is, hey, I saw that you like cars. I like cars too. By the way, have you seen the new F1 documentary that you will get addicted to? And people are like, yeah, absolutely. This is so awesome. So try to find something that you have in common and start having those conversations. And then you'll see that this will give you results.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be afraid to do some research,
Dude.
like jump on their Facebook. No, did I say dude?
Hey, dude.
Dude or dudette. Who knows? Yeah, who knows who's listening?
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to do some research before you jump on, the podcast with them. We go on their Facebook, we check what they do. We go on their Instagram. It's like, oh wow, look, this guy likes soccer. This guy likes doing this, right? A good example too is people that we met at the coffee shop, right? I feel like now is easier for us to kind of like dig that information of the things that they like, and then we build relationships like very quickly, right? Like for example, these people that one of the guys that I met at the coffee shop, Very, very successful. I quickly realized that he likes playing tennis. So I was like, heck yeah, dude. I started playing tennis when COVID hit. And he's like, what? No way. Me too. So we went out and we played a tennis match. And now we are like buddies, and all the baristas at the coffee shop are like keeping track of the games.
This course.
Yeah, and I'm losing, but so I gotta step it up.
Now to wrap up, right? Because my baby's on the other side, knocking on the door.
Yeah, there's a second baby's coming.
But I want to bring this to the light because for us it felt very natural. But when I was in this session, the feedback was a lot of people were very confused. They didn't know how to divide or how to separate business or how to unite business with relationships, right? And I remember Amanda calls onto the stage somebody that also this is very natural to them. And it, like just like us, it was very difficult to kind of divide them, right? Like it was the opposite. I'm like, this is how we act, right? So, but also more people were like, we don't understand how we can make this happen. Like, what is the system? What is the script? What is the thing? There's no script. There is no script. And that's the secret, right? And that's the hard work, right? At the beginning. So I highly encourage you, start experimenting. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you have any questions, come into the Facebook group, right? Contentsprofit.com. It'll take you to the group. And if you have any questions about specifically how to do this Dream 100 strategy, I highly encourage you guys to connect with Amanda Holmes. She's very responsive on her social media. Just let us know and we'll refer you to them.
Shout out to Amanda.
Shout out to awesome. Amanda. Yeah, she's awesome. Anything else, Fonz?
No, I think that's it. Just go out there, be nice, make cool friends, and yeah, and just make a lot of money.
Yeah, let's go. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show and in your favorite social media channels and at BIZBROS. Go.
That is right.
I got it.
And if today's episode helped you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Success.